Because one day this kid came to me and he said, when I turn 16, I want to date hot girls. I said, what? What's up, everybody? Mojo Libido here, coming at you with another MGTOW-like video. So, I've started to red pill my son, and I'm not necessarily trying to steer him away from marriage and relationships along that line. He's too young for that. I have two sons. One of them is 20, and the other one is 6. Pretty young. It's the 6-year-old that I'm actually red pilling. My 20-year-old, I actually started red pilling him earlier. I didn't even know that it was called red pilling. What it was just a reactionary thing for when what happened was when he was younger, about the same age as my 6-year-old, he was going through some stuff in school, trying to get people to like him and be like his friend and stuff like that, and he really liked girls and all this other stuff like that. And back then it wasn't really much of a red pill kind of thing. It was more of a, hey kid, you're trying too hard. Why are you even going down this route? You're trying too hard. You're never going to make yourself happy trying to make other people happy. And it was something that was told to me when I was a little younger. A very wise woman noticed that at work, she worked with me, she noticed that for some reason, anytime I would be with one group of people, I would act a certain way, and then when I was with another group of people, I would act a totally different way. Basically, what I was doing was trying to impress one group and trying to stay within the social realms of the other group. And she noticed that, and she said, why do you do that? I said, do what? Why is it when you're over here with us, you're this way, or you're with these people, you're that way, and you're with those people, you act this way? You know, and she called me out on it. And sometimes that's what it takes. It takes for people to call you out on your own bullshit in order for you to recognize that and change, because you may not even know that you're on some bullshit, but in the back of your mind, you're doing certain things for acceptance. You know what I mean? For acceptance as a man, for respect. If you're a woman, you definitely want validation. You want validation as a man as well, but it's more about respect and acceptance. On both parts, it's about acceptance. But to me, for women and girls, it's more about validation. For men, it's more about acceptance and respect. So yeah, so a woman pointed that out to me, and it made so much sense that it completely changed my life. Now, there's been a few times in my life that someone's words have actually changed me to a certain degree. Most times, things that I feel like connect with me, I have to kind of like, if they don't really impact me in a way that it just makes so much sense that it completely changes the way I act and the way I think towards a better position, a more beneficial position. And when I say beneficial, I mean like sometimes the words that certain people say have such a powerful meaning that it completely changes my life. And it's not even a meme. It's really not even about self-improvement. It's like a self-actualization kind of thing. You know, that kind of leads towards more self-improvement. But yeah, so lady tells me this, and I recognize it, and I'm like, man, I do that. And then I started to change that habit, like almost immediately. And there's very, very few times that's happened. The next time something like that has been so resounding and has changed, it might have happened a few other times, but the only time I can really recognize is when one day I was watching an interview with 50 Cent, and he was on top of a roof, and you know, people were talking about his success. You know, he had just recently, well, no, this was like maybe a year or two after he became really very successful as a businessman, not just as a rapper. And he was discussing the difference between him and the people in his G-Unit company, such as his rappers and things like that, mainly his rappers, because those were his homies. So, you know, back then he was rolling with Tony Yayo. This is before Young Buck came in there. It was really just him, Tony Yayo, and Lloyd Banks. And he said that, you know, he would see his his homies go through certain things, and they would be like upset and crying and complaining about so much things, and they would be talking about how depressed they were, you know what I mean, because of such and such whatever. And him and his business mindset, because he was also talking about how he read the book 48 Laws of Power or something like that, and then he got with the author and they created the 51 Laws of Power. He was telling his people, like, I don't see why you guys are upset. We're like riding high. We're living a life. And, they would look at him like, why doesn't this, affect you like it's affecting us? He said, I got a business to run. He's like, I got a life to live and a business to run. He's like, depression is a luxury I cannot afford. Quite honestly, that was probably one of the most powerful things I have ever heard anybody say. And that right there, that thinking, that piece of wisdom and knowledge just sunk into my head, and it never let go. And I have been, and even now, and I won't even go into my situation, but I have been through some of the most detrimental pieces and parts of life. I mean, homelessness, despair, haven't been drunk or anything like that, or been like a binge drinker or a junkie or anything like that, but just homelessness and poverty, and just dealing with nearly crazy, going almost insane, dealing with certain people like ex-girlfriends, especially with girls, women, or whoever I was dealing with. Like, all of this stuff really would come at you, but it always was in the back of my mind that if I was ever upset about something, that I could never go so far as being depressed. And I would feel myself going towards that route, and then that same word talks about how depression is not a luxury I can afford. And you might be saying, some people might say, well, that's kind of insensitive to say that depression is a luxury, but I honestly kind of think it is a luxury to sit there and wallow in self-sadness instead of standing up, picking yourself up, keeping it moving, and not worrying about and letting things that has happened in your past or what's happening in your present affect what you could be doing in your future. And the only way you're going to be able to get to that point is if you do not succumb to depression. And that means, for me, it allowed me to think, what would keep me depressed? Right? Like, what would get me into that position where I would be depressed? Mostly it's about your thought processes and things of that nature. Now, I kind of skewed off of what I was talking about, so I'm gonna go back, but that's the mindset I've had. But anyway, I explained to my oldest son that you can't make people happy, no matter if you live your life trying to make other people happy, you're not gonna make yourself happy. I don't think it made as much impact with him as it did with me. But you got to sow those seeds of knowledge within your kids and get them to think and feel on their own. Not everybody's going to feel this way. Not everybody's going to think this way. You know what I mean? And so be it. That's completely up to them. But in my situation, I tend to feel as though any child that I bring into this world, they have to be a rational, critical thinker. Now, I have not had any daughters. I have to come at it from the perspective of being a man teaching his sons. For one, my father wasn't around enough to teach me just about anything. And when he was around me, he would teach me things that showed that we had a bonding connection. And the reason why he would do this is because we lost so much time that any time he spent with me, he had to make it known in his own little ways that we were one and the same, that we were alike, and that he understood certain things about me that I didn't even know about myself, and that he was on top of it even if I didn't think he was. But to me, talking about our connection, that didn't really bother me too much. What really bothered me was that I needed to learn. I needed to know how to navigate myself through this world that I'm living in, and I'm a teenager, or I'm young in, and this, that, and the other. And, here he is trying to teach us about our connection. Dude, I know we got a connection. You're my father. I have that connection. This is why I'm here with you, so that we can keep this connection going. Why are you telling me about this connection, and why are you proving this connection when it's already there? And more than likely, he probably was doing that because maybe he thought that my mom was teaching me that my father didn't love me, that we had no connection, this, that, and the other. That's farther from the truth. I mean, I don't really know the man as well as I should, or as well as my younger brothers do, the two younger boys that he had. I may not know the man like that, but that doesn't mean I don't believe that we have been connected, and that doesn't mean that I actually took my mom's side against it, because when my mom was trying to force me to believe that my father was a certain way, in my mind I'm thinking, no, there's no way, this cannot be, there's no way. Because I would think back to times where we were in court and my dad was trying to get custody of us, and my mom used the court system against him, basically saying, you haven't been here in your son's life for this long, why are you popping up now trying to get custody of your son? And I'm sitting here like, Mom, I want to live with my dad. Like, I want to be a part of this man's life whom I don't really know. I want to get to know. Mom, I know you. I'm not going to stop loving you. I'm not going to stop caring about you. This is what I'm thinking. And I was probably about maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 or 9, around my youngest son's age, something like that. Anywhere between like 6 and 10. And she completely used the court system against him. And then the whole time she bashed him a lot about the fact is that he wasn't doing much, he wasn't around with you. You shit on him in court. You shat on him. You told him that you made it known that he did not have the right to be a part of my life, or for me to be a part of his life in such a way where I was living with him, because he was not around like that, when the man was obviously trying. So for me, when I'm talking to my kid now, my youngest, even though my oldest, he's grown enough and we talk, and I can still tell that he's not blue pilled, but he's not completely red pilled. I try to warn him about the dangers of him going through the motions with certain females because of what can happen, and for him to be very careful about what he's doing. In order for him to get his life together and to follow his goals and dreams, he needs to stay focused on what he's got to be doing and stay off of this trip about females. You got this one girl, you keep fucking this girl, she's going to start wanting girlfriend privileges, and she's going to force that on you no matter what. She's going to find little ways to get it into your head that this is a relationship, that we are in a relationship, because you keep driving your dick into her. After you hit it, tell her she's got to fucking go. Because if you don't, she's going to use that time that she spends with you to cuddle with you or do this, that, and the other to get into your head. And honestly, she's going to take away your time, because she sees you got something that you're doing, and she wants to ride out with you, but she's not going to let you do all that, because once she gets used to your time, your attention, and the way she's going to treat you, then she's going to be, I don't want you doing this and I don't want you doing that, because I want you here with me. And then that's not going to make you do anything more. You're going to end up getting her pregnant. You're going to end up having kids with her. And the next thing you know, you're going to be in the same exact boat that I'm in. And here I am showing you where I'm at, showing you the position that I'm in, trying to get you to avoid where I'm going by seeing what's happening in my life, seeing where I'm at. Did you see where I'm at, son? I'm 40 years old. 41 years old, 38, 39, 40. Do you see the position that I'm in? Do you see what I've been going through? If you do not want to go down this route, if you do not want to end up like me, then please adhere to what I'm telling you and go a different way. I didn't do that when I was your age, and this is the reason why I'm in the position that I am now. Fast forward to my youngest son, and now what I'm doing is I'm red pilling him. And I don't give a fuck what his mother says. But honestly, the two of us together have been doing very well with him. And I think it's gotten through his head, because for a while he wanted the two of us to be back together. And he thought that he saw other people with their mommies and their daddies and they're still together, this, that, and the other. And I tried to explain to him, son, what you think you see, you probably aren't seeing, because some people, you may think that this person is this person's mommy and daddy, but that may not be this person's daddy, or that may not be this person's mommy. They may not even be together like that. They could be in a position like me and your mom are. I said, don't sit back and rationalize what's going on And I use the word rationalize, even though he may not understand it. He's 6 years old. I don't give a fuck. I don't talk to him all the time like he's a kid. I talk to him in plain, simple words that I know he can understand because his vocabulary is going up, and he's always had great comprehension skills, even when he was around 2 years old. So I know at this point he's ready to be red pilled to a certain degree. So for me, red pilling him means getting him to understand about how girls act towards him, how they respond towards him, because I've noticed that, you know, how he acts around girls. When we've been to certain events where he would be, where it'd be like all the kids were at little dances or something like that, and then he would be there, and I'd notice him running around and chasing girls, but girls weren't chasing him, right? And then you notice his cousin, girls are all chasing all over his cousin. His cousin's kind of got an alpha kind of, you know, really his anger is presenting him off as being more alpha than it is anything else. And he knows, and I guess he likes girls, but he's not paying attention to them. He's trying to make his mom and his dad happy. So he's trying to focus on his work. Now, my son always focuses on his work. He gets great grades in school. So that's not a point. But I noticed that he really tries to, you know, be up on girls, and he gets that because he lives with his mom, so he's always up on her. And I told her, he's 6 years old, stop cuddling with this boy. You are weakening him up, and these girls are going to eat him alive. And what's going to happen is, as he gets older, and he's sitting here thinking that the kind of affection that he gave to you, he can give to these girls, they're going to reject that, and they're going to treat him in ways that's going to hurt his feelings. He's not going to be able to know how to overcome some of those emotions. And I said, it could end up making him very desperate for love and relationships as he gets older, because he's trying to find a girl who he can treat like you. Now, because I've been talking to him about so many things, lately, he hasn't been all on that cuddle trip, but he does it still. You know, he's still a kid. He's still little. He's still used to being up around his mom, things like that. I've been red pilling him lately, and I've been talking to him about how girls really are. It's like, listen, now is the time where you can learn how girls are as kids, because they never really break out of their habits and their ways when they get older. They just mask them behind certain words and certain activities, you know, certain lifestyles. But essentially, they're going to act the same. You know, they're going to be petty. They're going to be emotional. They're going to be irrational. They're going to do things that makes you wonder, why would you do that? Why would you say that? Why is it that you know I like you, but you act like you like me, but you really like him? Or why would you kiss this boy, but you say you like me? Why are you asking me to do this and do that for you, and you don't want anything else? And, you know, you say you're a friend, but you don't even want to hang out. You don't want to hang out. You don't want to do anything. You know I like you, but you don't like me like I like you. It's certain things that, you know, when I was a kid, I noticed, but I didn't know how to respond to those things. Because, one, I did not get that teaching from my father, okay? He ran off. And mind you, he didn't run off away from my mom because he didn't want to be with her. My father was into music, and he was doing whatever he could to kind of make his life something with music. And then my mom totally rejected that notion because he's out traveling, working as a band, doing work, trying to get his music career going. And I guess my mom didn't particularly care for that. She rejected that. And then I guess because he wasn't around like she wanted him, I guess she put him on child support or whatever. And I don't know. I don't know how their situation went. I don't really know how the story went. But if it's like anybody else's story, I don't need to hear the story. I can just understand the fact that if he was trying to do something and she should have been supportive of him in that endeavor, she probably got upset and pissed off. But my dad, he never taught me certain things. And my brother said to me one day, he said, you know, I love mom, but she didn't teach us shit. He said, she didn't teach us shit. He said, I learned nothing from mom. And that was a powerful statement because he hit the nail on the donkey. Love you, mom. You know who this is. You know who I am. If you ever hear this, I love you to death, but big bro was right. You didn't teach us shit. But that's not, honestly, that's really not her position to do if she doesn't know how to do it. Or if it's not in her mindset to do it. It's not her position to do it. It's our Father's positions to do that. And that was the the main issue was that our fathers weren't there to teach us what my mom could not teach us. Maybe didn't want to teach us, or didn't know how to teach us. That vital, crucial information that young boys need, and even young girls. We did not get that. And my mom worked a lot, and I understand she had a lot of work and she had to do a lot of things, but she dealt with a lot of depression, okay? She dealt with a lot of mental problems, okay? And really it's because she dwelled on a lot of shit that she did, a lot of decisions that she made that didn't get her nowhere, but working her ass off all the time. And I appreciate that she worked her ass off and did whatever she could to make sure we had a roof over our head, food in our stomachs, and things of that nature. But you still, no matter what, you still have to teach your kids. You have to teach your kids. You have to train them how to think on their own, how to live on their own, how to be responsible on their own. Okay, when your boys are young, as men, if you're in your child's life, actively, okay, vehemently, no matter what, you do whatever you got to do, even if you're not with the woman anymore, even if you're not with the mother anymore, you have to do whatever you got to do vehemently to get them to understand what's going on in your life, what is going to happen to them, what's going on in the world around them, and how they can interact with that. Okay? And for one, my son, I'm talking to him about certain things. And I told him, I said, listen, I'm giving you really good knowledge, okay? I said, I taught your brother this kind of stuff, but he was a little bit older, and I'm teaching you this now because you're younger, because I want you to have this in you. I said, but you can't go back and keep telling your mom everything that I tell you. I said, because then everything that I tell you, she's going to come back and we're going to get into arguments about this stuff, because she's going to know that I'm right. And it's not that she doesn't want you to have the information. She's going to think that you're too young to know this stuff. And you're not. You're not a dumb kid. You're not too young. There's things that I've seen you do and stuff that I've seen you comment on that lets me know that you are at the point where you need to know certain things. But if you keep running back and telling her things that I tell you like you've done before, I can't talk to you and teach you about how to live and act and navigate the world so that you can go out here and be better than mommy and daddy and not have to go to the point of where you're living, where you're 20, 30, 40 years old, living with your parents, living with your mom, or living with your dad, to stand on your own too, or letting girls treat you a certain way, right? He said to me, he said, well, that's going to be hard, Dad. I said, why? I said, I'm a blabbermouth. I said, no, you're not. I said, you can keep a secret. He's like, I try to, Dad, but it's hard. I said, if this is very important to you, I said, do you believe that what we talk about is important? I said, because I don't like to throw stuff in your head that's not important. I said, we can have fun, we can play games, you can do all this other stuff, but do you believe that what we talk about is important? He said, yes, I do. I said, do you like the conversations we have? Yes. He said, yes, I do. I said, well, if you believe it's important and you like these conversations, and I'm asking you to just listen and learn and not repeat what I tell you, but to observe that if what I'm telling you is wrong and you're observing this stuff and it's right and you see that what I'm saying is right, don't go back and tell your mom that. Okay? Just don't go back and tell her. Like, she don't need to. I said, I will tell her when the time is right. I said, but you need to know this stuff now, because the way the world is going, son, it's going to be very hard for you if you don't listen to what I'm telling you and you don't understand what's going on. And to this day, this boy has not talked to his mom, at least that I know of. Because if he did, trust me, she would have no problem telling me what he said. I said, you can't tell your teachers, you can't tell your mom, you can't tell your mom, you can't talk to Pop. This is between you and me. This is our connection. This is our bond. This is what I'm giving to you. This is knowledge, and whether you want to accept it as true or not is up to you. The only way you're going to know what I'm telling you is true is if you sit down and you observe life and you observe the people around you and you look at things and you let your mind think. You think, you don't feel. I said, you can use your feelings, but your feelings are a guide. You should not let them control you. They are your guides. They're like a pointer. You know how you play games and after you complete a certain section of the game, they put a little arrow that says, go this way? Well, those are guides, okay? And it's up to you to go that way or not, or to go a different way. Okay? It's completely up to you. It's your emotions are a guide. I said, but your thinking allows you to sit back and understand exactly what's going on in the world, because you process it in your brain and you figure shit out. Okay? I'm gonna teach you how to. I said I'm gonna teach you some great stuff. I said I'm gonna teach you how to catch anybody in a lie. And I said the people who lie the most or tell the biggest lies right now are girls. They lie the most. Girls, women, they lie the most. They lie more than guys do. Guys lie, but their lies are more like they do it to make themselves look better. Girls lie to protect themselves. Girls lie to protect your feelings when they shouldn't. But I said, that's a little bit ahead of us. I told him, I said, it's a little bit ahead of us. Right now, you need to know and understand certain things. I said, do you want to know the truth about girls? He said, yes. I said, one, do you like girls? He was like, yeah, I love girls. I said, okay, good. I said, what do you love about girls? And he starts telling me, you know, they're fun, they're cool to be around, this, that, and the other. I said, okay, do you think they're pretty? He was like, some of them. I said, do you like the pretty ones? He was like, yeah, I do. I said, well, I'm going to tell you like this, son. I said, the first thing you need to understand is, if you decide you want a girlfriend or you want to go after a certain girl in your life, if you decide you want to go after a girl and be with a girl, the first thing you need to look for in a girl is that she is nothing like your mother. He was like, huh? I said, because right now, as a kid, your mom makes the biggest impression of you of how a woman should treat a man. Your mom is very, I said, she acts masculine in a lot of ways. I said, she really is. I said, but she acts a certain way because this is her survival instinct. And I said, quite honestly, you know, you don't want a woman like your mom. I said, if anything, you want a woman that's completely the opposite. You want someone who's not, you don't want her to look like your mom. If your mom is fat, you want a girl who's, you know, fit, who's not fat, who takes care of her body, takes care of herself. If your mom is always angry and screaming and hollering and yelling at you, then you want a girl who's a little bit more calm. I said, if you don't think your mom looks, if your mom isn't as pretty as some of these girls you see on TV, then you need to go out. Not saying your mom is not beautiful to you, because I said, not saying your mom is not beautiful to you, but if you don't think your mom has the looks of any of these beautiful girls you see on TV or in those YouTube videos or whatever you're watching, or that you see when you walk down the street, like physically beautiful, I said, then that's not the kind. You don't want a woman like your mom like that. I said, you want a woman who's completely the opposite. Those are the girls you go after. And I said, and I told him, I was telling him things like, listen, girls are backwards. He's like, girls are backwards? What do you mean? And I've talked to him more about more different stuff. I've talked to him and I've taught him about testing, like girls when they shit testing, but I didn't call it shit testing. I just said they'll test you. And I said, sometimes they'll test you, they don't know they testing you. He's like, what do you mean? I said, sometimes girls will ask you to do things for them, or they'll say certain things to you that is meant to make you feel a certain way. Or they'll ask you to do things for them because they're trying to see if they can get over on you. You know, I said, those are two kinds of tests you can always find out. Those are the two basic tests. One, they're going to ask you to do something for them. Whether you want to do it or not, they're going to try to ask you to do it. But they're going to try to find ways to get you to, they might not even ask you to do it. They may try to find ways to sweet talking you into doing it. You know, could you do this for me? I'll give you a hug, or I'll tell everybody you're my boyfriend, and this, that, and the other. I said, they'll do all kinds of stuff. Can you do my homework for me? Can you carry my books for me? Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? I said, you know, those are the kind of tests when the girl, I said, two kinds of tests are when a girl tries to get you to do something for them, okay? Or when a girl tries to, when a girl says something to you to get you to feel a certain way because they want to see how you're going to react. I said, you know what it means to react? And he said, no. I said, it means how you respond or what you do in respect to what they say to you. Okay? She says something to you, you feel a certain way, and then you respond and you do this in return. And I said, you need to figure that out. You need to see that and watch. I said, if you don't understand if a girl's testing you or not, I said, one day, watch girls and how they interact with certain boys. I said, sometimes you don't even have to watch. You can just listen. You have great ears because you got them from me. I'm into music. Your brother's into music. My dad was into music. And I can guarantee you, you've got the ears of a musician. That means you can hear things that other people don't normally listen for and don't normally hear. I said, you need to use your ears and your eyes sometimes. I said, sometimes you can't use your eyes. For the simple fact is, if you're looking at certain people, they may be like, why are you looking at me like that? I said, so sometimes you got to use your ears. But if someone's within a certain around position, just listen to how girls talk. Sit back and listen. I said, don't talk to them. Leave them alone. Just listen to how they talk. Listen to how they talk to each other, how they talk to other boys. Listen to what they're saying and think about it. And I said, see if you can figure out if a girl is testing you or testing the person they're talking to. Those are the first two kinds of tests. There's other kinds of tests. But for the most part, they're either going to test you emotionally or going to test you physically as far as, you know, this, that, and the other. They said, when you get older, they're going to test you to see how much of a man you are. And I said, they'll do things that are really going to irk you and push your buttons and they make you want to lash out at them. I said, but you know, you have to be more reserved and more strong as a man to not allow that to happen. I said, one, you need to learn how to say no to girls. I said, if a girl tells you they want you to do something, they ask you to do something, or they tell you you should do it because they expect you to do it, because they grow up believing that this is what girls should get. This is how they should be treated, that men should do everything for them. So the first thing you need to do is learn how to say no. If a girl says, can you do my homework for me? You say no. Don't ask why. Just say no. It's, first of all, her grades aren't going to be your grades. Okay? Her grades aren't going to be your grades. Why do her homework? And she gets a good grade and she didn't even do the work. I said, now she believes that she don't have to do her homework. She can get somebody else to do it. And she'll get you to do that all the time. Can you buy me this? Can I have this? Can I have this? Your pudding from lunch? Can I have that slice of pizza or whatever? You say no. And then what happens is, once you pass that one test, a lot of times girls will keep testing you over and over and over again. So they'll try to keep pushing to get you to do something. And you have to learn how to stop them right away. What you got to do is, when you say no, you stand by it. Don't say no, and then some girl goes, please, just say no. Walk away if necessary. I said no. Walk away. And don't feel bad about it. I said, because there's no reason for you to feel bad. You have every right to tell a girl no and to stand by it. I said, because the next test she'll say, you're mean, or why are you so mean to me? Why aren't you nicer to me? This, that, and the other. Okay? You don't have to answer that question. There's no need for you to answer that question, son. There's no need for you to answer that at all. You don't have to answer that question. Once you've stated your purpose, she's the one now sitting here worried about, and her feelings are, now she's failing your test. So one time we were at the park. I'm not sure if he was telling me a story about a girl in school. I was like, but you know, I said, you know, girls are backwards. He said, what do you mean? I said, they're backwards. Everything is backwards to them. I said, with girls, up is down and down is up. Left is right and right is left. He was like, up is down and down is up. I said, yeah. Left is right. I said, sometimes left is up and right is down. Or down is left and up is right. He's like, what? I said, forward is backwards and backwards is forward. He's like, Dad, you're not making no sense. I said, exactly. Because girls don't make no sense. And he said, I don't understand what you mean. I said, do you see this confusion you're having right now? He was like, yeah. I said, this is the exact kind of confusion you're going to deal with when you're dealing with girls. He was like, really? I said, yeah, this is exactly what you're going to be dealing with. You're going to feel a certain way. You're going to be confused. You're going to be wondering what's going on. You're going to be wondering, why is a girl acting this way? Why does this girl tell me that she likes me? But yet and still, and she wants to hold my hand, and she's talking about, she wants to go out and be my girlfriend. But she goes off with this other guy, and she kisses him. And she hasn't even kissed me yet. He was like, they do that? I said, yeah, all the time. I said, you're going to find out when you get older that girls are very indecisive. They'll say they want this, but they really don't want that. Okay? Most times what girls say they want, unless it's something like material possessions. He said, what's a material? I said, like stuff that you can buy or stuff that you can own, like jewelry, like rings and shoes and clothes. Unless it's something like that, which they can be very indecisive about what kind of shoes they want, what kind of clothes they want, what kind of jewelry they want. I said, but essentially once they settle down on something, they're mostly happy. And sometimes they buy things because they see it, they think it's gonna look good on them, they buy it, and then when they get home, they're like, I don't really like it. And it's like, you sat back and talked about how beautiful it was. Yeah, but I thought it was gonna look good on me. You tried it on in the store. He's laughing. He was cracking up at this. He was like, I was like, and you just tried it on in the locker room, in the dressing room, and you said it looked great, and then you bring it home, and now you don't look good in it? That's backwards. Up is down, down is up, left is right is left, up is right, down is left, right is down, left is down, left is up, right is up. Forward is backwards, forward is backwards, backwards is inside is outside, outside is inside. He was like, Dad, you're funny. I said, it's true. I said, you don't believe me? Pay attention. I said, pay attention. I said, your mom does it often, but at the same time, she can be a little bit more level-headed than that. She's got some college education there. I said, but she could be a little bit more level-headed sometimes, but a lot of times, she's not. I said, if you can grasp that concept, I said, then you'll always know how to respond to a girl. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, if a girl's supposed to be going forward, if you're dealing with a girl and you seem to be going forward, but yet she seems to be going backwards, then you need to go backwards in order for her to go forward. I said, because she's going to want to do the opposite of what you're doing. So you need to do the opposite of what you're doing, because what's going to happen is if you do everything that you think you're supposed to do with a girl to get that girl to like you, she's not going to like you. I said, every young boy is being taught by their moms who know the truth, but because they don't want their sons to grow up to be like the guys whom they kept going after that really didn't do nothing for them. The mothers are teaching their sons to be nice to girls, to respect them, to do things for them, to be, chivalrous and all this other stuff like that. And, he didn't ask me what chivalry was because, that kind of just flew over him. Some things he don't know. I said, honestly, there's not that many girls in this world that respond to guys being nice to them. As you know, they say to guys who are nice to them all the time, what? We can just be friends. And I said, if you meet a girl and you think she's pretty and you want to be with her and you come at her and you try to be nice to her and try to respect her and try to show her that you really like her and this, that, and the other, and you do all this stuff for her, you try to be friendly with her and talk with her and let her talk to you about this, that, and the other, you think that you are connecting with this girl and the two of you are starting to understand each other and you're growing and this is that, and then next thing you know, you think that she likes you, so you decide to say, hey, do you want to go out sometime? Do you want to go out? Do you want to hang out? Do you want to go this way? Do you want to do that? Do you want to do this? You want to do that? And then she's like, no, we could just be friends. Or she'll say something like, I don't think so. I don't know. Or she'll say, she might not want to say it. I said, she may tell you, yeah, let's do it. And then when it's time to go out, she won't go with you. And you'll be like, but you said you wanted to go. And she'll be like, well, I got something I got to do. And this, that, and the other, da-da-da. Knowing full well she didn't have anything to do. She just didn't want to look like the bad guy to you. I said, girls do never want to look like the bad guy to you. Once again, up is down, down is up. I said, instead of them telling you right away, no, that they don't like you, or that they're not interested in you, It doesn't have to be, they don't have to explain themselves, they don't have to make themselves. No, I said, instead of them coming straight out of their face and telling you that they're not interested, they're not really into you like that, or they're not worried about you, or that they don't find you attractive or whatever like that, instead of them saying that and being honest with you, being upfront, because you're honest with them, they'll lie in their own little ways, but it doesn't feel like lying to them. Okay, honestly, it's a test, but it's also a lie. They don't feel like they're lying to you. They feel like they're trying to protect your feelings, and that's backwards. And he said, why? He's like, I don't get it. Like, he's sitting here confused. I said, you don't get it now, but you will get it soon. I said, you need to get this in your brain first. Okay, because sometimes you learn stuff and you hear stuff and you read stuff, but you don't understand it until you get into a situation where you have to deal with it. And I said, once you get into a situation where you have to deal with it, now you got to figure out how to change things in your favor. Okay? I said, for one, Daddy is never friends with girls. I said, I stopped being friends with girls years ago. He said, you don't be friends with girls? You don't think girls are good for friends? You don't like girls having friends? I said, I don't. I said, I'll never be friends with a girl again, son. And I'm going to tell you like this. If you want more girls to like you, and you want to deal with more girls, and as you grow up, don't be their friends. Don't act like they're friends. Don't be their friends. Don't fake like you're their friends. I said, the only girls that you could be friends with are girls whom you don't think are cute, but you guys act like buddies. And I said, the girl can't think you're cute. The girl can't like you secretly. And you can't like the girl secretly, because that's not a friendship. You need to not do that. Just don't do that. I said, but aside from all that, that's later on down the line. I said, what you need to understand now is, because what you can observe right now from girls is that they are backwards, that they don't do things and think and act in ways like boys do. Boys, we move forward. And when we're moving forward, girls want to move backwards. I said, we all want to go, boys want to go to the right, girls decide they want to go to the left. All right, you see what I'm saying, son? Like I try to explain this. This is just a few tidbits of red pill knowledge I'm giving to him. There are things that he will not understand because he's too young, but he's at the point where I'm red pilling him based off of, first of all, how girls act and what they do and why they do it. Right now, he just needs to know how certain girls act. What I'm trying to do is get him to think rationally about dealing with girls. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to quiz him and I'm going to ask him. Remember what Daddy was talking to you about girls being backwards and they, up is down, down is up. I said, have you noticed that? That's what I'm going to ask him. Have you noticed this yet? Have you listened and heard or seen girls act in this way? Now, I honestly have a built-in lie detector and a built-in BS meter that his mother put in me. And it was after considerable amounts of lies and deceptions and deceit. It was once everything came out in the open and I started seeing what was going on, after years of going through all this stuff with her, one day I sat down and I almost went crazy trying to cycle through all of the lies and the situations. Every time I got a gut reaction or a red flag came up, I had to cycle through all of these memories, and it really hurt. It hurt because there were times where it was like, wow, how come I didn't notice this then? How come I didn't think about this then? Like, honestly, it really pissed me off about certain things that happened. And I'm like, I could tell some stories, but I'm not going to, but I could tell some stories that'd be like, what? You know what I mean? So I quite honestly, I almost drove myself mad and crazy trying to figure out what she said to me that was lies, all the lies that she told me, why I didn't notice it, this, thing, the other. But from that point, what happened was I learned how to detect a woman's bullshit. I basically had a built-in lie detector made. It's a bullshit detector. And it's helped me because I don't fall for bullshit. I call girls out on their bullshit all the time. I watched a girl talk to a guy at the local coffee shop, and I put this in another recording, so I may not really go into it. I watched this girl talk to this guy. This guy approached this girl that he knows, and basically, when it was all said and done, and she started talking to me, I called her out on her bullshit. I called her out on her bullshit. And I said, you didn't do this with this guy because of the simple fact is you didn't want to play the bad guy. She was like, no, that's not. I said, no, don't go for there. You were trying to protect his feelings. He was really kind of weak and this, that, and the other. Like, she was really throwing him under the bus. And it was like, when I hear a girl talk about a guy like that, I lose respect for her. For the simple fact is, she could have stopped the conversation at any point, but she made excuses as to why she didn't, or why she, quote unquote, couldn't. And then she turns around and says he was the weaker one because the way he was talking to her, he was a little less reserved about certain things. Like, come on now. When I hear shit like that, when I hear stuff like that, quite honestly, what goes through my head is I don't have respect for the girl. And I talk to her like that. I talk to her with reckless regard for the respect for her because of the way she talked about this other kid. A guy who just basically looked at a girl he thought was beautiful. He wanted to get to know her. That was his mindset. So this is what blue pill guys do. They think that in order for a woman to like them, they have to get to know them first and make a connection with them. And he's sitting here, they're both talking back and forth about their lives. That's not making a connection. That's not getting to know them. When essentially, all she wants is, if a guy's going to talk to her, flirt with her first. You know, he was trying to, but this is where the weakness came out, and she pointed that out. And for me, it was like, okay, you wouldn't have had to dealt with that if you would have just told the guy that, listen, I'm busy, maybe we can talk another time. I can't make any promises, but maybe we can talk another time. I really have to get back to this work. I'll talk to you later. Cut the conversation off. Cut it off. Something that she did not do at all. This is the reason why I am teaching my son about this kind of stuff early. I'm planting the seeds of this stuff in his mind because I want him to observe first, and then I want to teach him how to react next. Because one day this kid came to me and he said, when I turn 16, I want to date hot girls. I said, what? Oh my God, that shit had me cracking up. He said, when I turn 16, I want to date hot girls. I said, what do you know about hot girls? This is why I started talking to him and trying to red pill him. I said, listen, do you want to date hot girls when you get older? He said, yeah. I said, then listen to what the hell I'm telling you. And I said, because there's going to be some stuff that I'm going to tell you that was going to probably scare the pants off of you, or at least make you very cautious about dating girls. I said, honestly, there are ways you can at least navigate your life and enjoy time with females without necessarily going through the nonsense. And I said, but if you don't listen to me, you're going to end up in this position where these hot girls are not going to want you. And I said, you don't want that. I said, because girls who are quote unquote hot girls, you're not the only guy in the world who's going to think that this girl's a hot girl. There's going to be tons of guys throwing themselves at these girls, and the only way that you're going to actually stand out for these girls is if you know how to act around them. If you know how to spot what they're doing, if you know how to understand when they're testing you, when you see the backwardness in them and how you can act and change and do things differently. And I said, I'm going to teach you little by little because you're young, but it's good to know this stuff now so that when you do turn 16, get ready to date these hot girls, you're going to have far few problems dating these hot girls than other guys. I love this boy, and I just want him to grow up and just at least have less complications dealing with the opposite sex and less complications dealing with certain things in his life. You know, this is just one little piece of knowledge that I'm giving him. The others are all about critical thinking and how he can basically think on his own when he gets to a certain age. Teach him how to seek the truth and how to trust his instincts and his gut. It's good to know this stuff now. He's at the age where he's understanding. He goes to school now. And I don't beat around the bush. I tell my son the truth. His mom, she don't like telling him the truth about certain things. And I keep telling her, like, listen, don't sugarcoat anything for this kid. We don't need kids growing up in this world where you're protecting them all the time and you're sugarcoating them and you're trying to keep them. I said, this is the problem with millennials now, always getting upset and outraged about everything because they grow up in a world where they're coddled and they're never taught the truth about things and they're always protected. And I said, that's not what we want. We don't want that. Okay? We don't want that for our kid. I said, we are protecting him. In a sense, as parents, we have to protect him from certain things. But at some point, we're going to have to let go of the reins and let him go off and live life. And the only way we're going to trust that he's going to do the right things, okay, is if we don't coddle him. We don't overprotect him. And we don't keep the truth from him at all. Red pill your kids. If you're in a relationship, or if you got custody of your kids, or you have good access to your kids, your sons, okay, you can't really red pill your daughters. You can pink pill them, I guess, which is give them a lighter amount of red pillage, stuff that's necessary for them to know as females. Can't purple pill them, but don't red pill your sons, man. If you can, if you're a part of the MGTOW family, this, that, and the other, red pill your sons. If they get to the point where they go MGTOW after a certain amount of time, the transition will not be hard for them. If the rules and the laws get worse in this country for boys, if you're red pilling them early, if you're giving them this knowledge and stuff early on, seeing that the road ahead is not going to help them at all, then this will make it easier for them when they get older to be able to avoid certain situations and not deal with certain things. This is your boy Mojo Libido, man. Hope you guys have a good night or a good day or whatever time that you're listening to this. Y'all take it easy. Let me know in the comments what you think about red pilling your kids early. If you've decided to do that, maybe they're learning to be red pilled basically by watching what you're going through, or maybe you're teaching them. And if you are teaching them, tell me what you're saying to them. But I tend to think, between the ages of 5 and 10 is a good time to start red pilling your kids. At least when you start seeing that they are demonstrating a competency and a comprehension, and they're starting to have knowledge, and you start seeing them react and act to girls in certain ways. All right, y'all take it easy. Peace.